In today's video, we have a very special guest, Matt Piche, who has flipped over 150 houses in Canada and became a millionaire and financially independent at the age of 30.
I got approved for my first mortgage at 18. So my dad was a carpenter for most of his life.
Oh, wow.
His dad was a carpenter for all of his life.
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of like running in the blood.
We'll understand his journey, how he did that, what's his mindset.
You'll get lucky, but it's just you being open and seeing the opportunity and being ready for it.
So this video will be filled with a lot of knowledge and learnings.
If you hate the rich, let's just say, how could you ever become rich if you hate them? How could you become something you hate? I just want to do more and achieve more.
Why? And you never know, after seeing this video, you might be the next person who becomes financially independent. So let's get started. So Matt, I first want to talk about what brought you here? Like, what were the circumstances that, from your early life that defines who you are today?
Yeah, I think when I got obsessed with finance is just kind of the way I grew up. And I guess when I was younger, I had no interest in finance or real estate. Nobody told me in my family you should invest in the stock market or real estate, nothing. So I don't really know how I even got obsessed with real estate. Just like a download from the universe. I don't know. It just kind of told me to do real estate. So I started watching actually flip that house when I was like 17 years old and just got, for some reason, like weirdly obsessed with it. And I just knew like deep down, that's what I was going to do. I was going to flip houses. And then I just got like thrown in, all in.
So what's your family background? Right? I know you were a carpenter. So what did your family do?
Yeah, so my dad was a carpenter for most of his life.
Oh, wow.
His dad was a carpenter for all of his life. Oh, wow. So it was kind of like running in the blood. But again, my dad never told me like, you're going to be a carpenter. And I never showed interest in it. Except for like in grade 10 during a shop class, actually. My shop teacher, instead of doing like the stupid little things you do in shop class, we had a separate segment for those who want to learn how to build a house. We built like a little shed in the back. So we did that, and I just got like obsessed with it for some reason. I was just like, this is amazing. I definitely know I'm not going to like college, university. So this might be something I want to do. And my shop teacher kind of saw my, my excitement and just was like, yeah, you should do this. Like, this is what I did with my life. Like, you can build a great life with it. And then I guess that's when I got obsessed with Flip That House. And when I saw that on TV, it kind of like reaffirmed the two. So I just went all in. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to college. Like, that's for sure.
Why?
I just knew that school wasn't for me. I didn't really like school. Even though I was good at it, if I wanted to be, I basically just did enough just to pass. So like my classic grade was like 62% throughout all my whole life. Like if I got 62%, to me, that was like an A. I was like, did it. Okay. So I just like did just enough to get through it. But like if I was failing or falling behind, I could easily come back up and do really well on like an essay or something. And even a few times during high school, my teachers were accusing me of cheating. Because I was doing so poorly, and then all of a sudden I would do really, really well, and they'd be like, "You're cheating." I was like, "No, that was me. Trust me." So like, I did that a lot. I did basically just enough, and I knew school wasn't for me. It just wasn't. I don't know. I just didn't like it. I liked going to school and hanging out with friends and all that kind of stuff, but it just wasn't for me.
Like when we talk about financial freedom, right? So like a lot of people think that you go to school, I've seen a lot of your videos where you say that that's not it, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think about the education system right now?
Yeah, I think it's all garbage. Now, I don't have the answer. I don't know what the answer should be. I just know it's not right in the sense that they make all the kids do the exact same thing and everybody's different. Everybody has different interests and they're good at different things. So if you don't know how to be good at the academic system, you're kind of a loser in a sense. Or you're made to feel like you're a loser. And that's basically what I felt throughout all my school. It was like I was different. There's something wrong with me. I must be not smart enough, not good enough. And it was just that. I'm actually better at being an entrepreneur, which I found out later in life. Like I'm better at building things and running things. I'm not good at finding out cosine on a triangle or like, I don't like, why would I need to do that? Right. So like, it's just, I think it's all garbage. And my one suggestion of how I think school should be is if a kid shows interest in, let's just say science, they should be thrown in full on for science. Just do a little bit of English, a little bit of grammar, a little bit of reading, just to know obviously the basics. But all in. So rather than just like a piece of everything and then you come out with nothing. So more specialization is what I really think.
And how about things that are changing with AI, with ChatGPT?
Yeah,
like it's becoming more obsolete, right?
Yeah, definitely. But teachers used to always say, well, you'll never have a calculator in your pocket. Like that was the joke throughout our growing up. Well, now we do. We have a phone. Yeah. So like everything's changing. The role's totally changing. So I think the education system has to change. And like we're seeing more so that with like homeschooling, homeschool rates are going up. We have a young child now. So now I'm a dad. So I'm thinking about what my kid's gonna do for school. and he's not going to any normal school at all.
What do you do as a parent? Like knowing
Yeah.
what you know today,
Yeah.
being financially independent at 30, like how do you push your son like into education?
Yeah, so we're still trying to figure it out. Like he's just turning 2 next month,
Okay.
so it's coming up soon. But we don't know exactly what we're gonna do. We're leaning towards more forest school. But if I had it the way I would want it, like I don't think he would go to school at all. He'd just hang out with us, and maybe we would hire a private tutor, obviously, to like teach him the basics of life and reading, adding, subtracting, stuff like that. But if it had it up to me, he would just hang out with me, and we would teach him everything about life and about how the world actually turns, rather than, like I said, learning about cosine or tan on a triangle. Like, who cares?
I wanted to talk about, like we are talking about family here, right? So when I see that you're spending a lot of time with family because of the early, financial education that you got. So like, what was that turning point? Like, was it a person? Was it an instance where you said that no, financial freedom is a thing and I can achieve it? Because you started very early.
Yeah.
When did you start? Like, when did you buy your first property?
The bottom of I was 22, and I got approved for my first mortgage at 18. So I was like already lining things up at 18 years old. I knew I was going to buy real estate as investment properties. But yeah.
So you bought it in 23?
I was 22 years old when I bought the first one. Yeah.
And was there a eureka moment where you thought, this is it?
I feel like I already knew that before that.
Okay.
But when I bought it, it was like confirmation, like, all right, we're rolling now. It's real. We're going to do it. But yeah, I just kind of always knew. It was very confident and guided. I don't know. I just knew this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm supposed to do. Isn't this what everybody else is doing? But no, they're not. They're not. Right?
Did you always, come from money? Or, did you see, being broke? Did you feel that, ever? Because I've seen a few of your videos where you said that you were broke and you know how it feels. So, how does it feel now versus then? And what are the beliefs that you think you had then which changed and that helped you become financially independent today?
Yeah. So I grew up fairly poor. I would say well below middle class. We had everything we needed. We had food, we had clothes on our back, but like that was it. So I felt the stress of my parents growing up. And like they always wanted more. And I think my mom was more entrepreneur. She told me like, you should think differently, but never really pushed me too much to it, but she thought differently. So she always told me there's possibilities to make more money, start a business, whatever. But we grew up very poor. My whole family, like all the other family members around, uncles, aunts, cousins, whatever, everybody was poor. And then when I started off, like when I got into the workforce at 18, being a carpenter, right up until I was about 23, 24, I was also poor, just starting the business. So just like this continual generational poverty kind of thing. And I was just sick of it. And I knew I was in the midst of changing it, but still going through it in my young 20s. But yeah, so I felt what it's like to be broke. And now we're changing it. I'm stopping the curse for the generation now.
And how do you, there are a lot of people who feel that they kind of hate the rich.
Yes,
right? So,
yes.
even back, when I read my first, financial literacy books, I was like, this is wrong. Rich fat poor dad, the guy is doing something wrong. So we always have this when we are in the poor. We always have this notion that, having money comes with problems. Being rich is evil. If you're making more money, it's wrong. You're doing something wrong. Is that mindset? It's very toxic, right?
Yes.
But did you ever have that mindset? And if you did, how do you turn people?
Yeah. Surprisingly, I never had that.
Okay.
Even when I was broke and stuff like that. And when I was younger, my parents never really even said stuff like that around the house. But I never really felt that for some reason. I always looked at it as, well, if they're rich, I could just learn from them. Even if they are doing something evil, let's just say, okay. I can still learn something, but just not do the evil thing.
Okay.
So that's the way I kind of came around to it. But I'm noticing more of that now, now that I'm rich, I guess, and talking about it online. Yeah. I'm getting the hate and the comments, and it's just like insane.
Hey, slumlord, right? So that's my favorite.
Slumlord. It's becoming more and more the more videos I do. It's just getting surprising that like how many people think this, which is the vast majority, and how toxic and like violent they are in the comment section. And it's a terrible mindset to hold so many people back, but it's real for sure.
Yeah. So like, is there a way to turn them, or it's just a lost cause for those people?
I think it's a lost cause, because even in the comment section, I'll try and like, make them think differently, or, factually say they're incorrect. And this is why these things need to change. And they just don't want to hear it. They're just set in their mind. So I don't think you can convert them or help them along. They're too set in their ways, which is unfortunate, because they're just holding themselves back with this poverty mindset, or that every rich person must be doing something evil or taking advantage of somebody. It's crazy.
I think people who are also positive, people who are looking at videos, I think even they've kind of set a ceiling for
Yes.
themselves. Like, do you feel that you have been creating content, you have been talking to so many people, you are a realtor still, so you have talked to so many people. Do you feel that people have ceilings? Because that's what I feel.
Yeah. It's a good question. I think everybody for sure does. Most people do. Even myself. So like, it's just even with the mindset we have, I still feel like, well, that's probably impossible. But it's like, why? Like, let's push a little more. Like,
So
let's grow
what's your process? When you get into, let's say, you flipped 150 properties.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
did you always know that you would flip 150 properties, or was there
No.
a ceiling there? And then what did you do to break that?
Yes, I never thought I would flip that many properties or even had the goal of like, I'm going to hit this many properties. I kind of break things down more to like yearly or even monthly. Okay, let's try and flip 2 houses a month. And then let's try and do at least 20 houses a year. That's the kind of way I look at it. And then I kind of look back and go, oh my God, I flipped 150 properties over the past, 10 years. That's crazy. But let's keep going. So I think about it more like in small chunks rather than like a lifetime goal. It's kind of what I'm finding right now.
I think there's power in thinking in 5-year chunks as well. So, sometimes when I feel that, what was I doing 5 years?
Yeah.
I was not even in the country. I was in a job
Yeah.
and I was, life was completely different. We just got married. So, the life is completely different.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people also, they just underestimate what they can do in 5 years.
Yes.
But I just feel that, people don't think big enough.
Yeah.
I was in a workshop the other day, and he asked us, Alfonso, so he asked us to, write a goal. And I wrote a goal of, I'll be buying, I don't know, 50 or 40, property in the next 3 years. So he said, make a 3-year goal. And then he said, double it.
Yeah.
So we doubled it. And then he said, double it again. And we doubled it again.
Yeah.
And then, throughout the course of workshop, we were just working towards the, double of double goal.
Yeah.
And then end of the workshop, it just felt that it's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible if you apply yourself. Why do you think people don't apply themselves? Why do you think people, are they just lazy, or is it something more?
I think the bigger question is why they don't want to reach this rich status or this wealthy status is that it's uncomfortable to them to even get there. If you hate the rich, let's just say, how could you ever become rich if you hate them? How could you become something you hate? So you're like artificially limiting yourself subconsciously. Like you might not even know you're doing it, but if you absolutely hate people who make, let's just say, over 200,000 a year, how could you ever make 200,000 a year? You won't. You'll be comfortable at your 40, at your 60. Once you get to 80, you're gonna start sweating a bit because you're becoming the thing you hate, which is crazy. I think that's a bigger question. Is just their mindset is just totally squashed.
So what is it that you need? Like, what are the 3 things that you feel we need to change to completely turn around the life?
Yeah.
That's what it is, right? You're turning around your life.
Yeah. I think you need a drive within. The more I do this, the longer I've doing this, and the people I've met, I think there are certain people, small group of us, who know we're destined for more, can achieve more, but I think we're weird, to be honest. There's just something in us that's different than 97% of the population.
Like, do you believe in having a why more than making money?
Oh, what, sorry?
Like having a why. Like, do you believe in purpose? Having a why.
I think the why is, for sure, is like the drive. Like, what is do you have a big goal in life? Like a way you want to live, how you want to live? But I think people don't even get there. They're not even thinking about an amazing life. They're just thinking about Friday. They're just thinking about getting and paying their rent by the 1st. Like they're just thinking in what's coming tomorrow rather than where we envision a life, how we're going to live. We're going to travel here. I want to do this. I want to do that. People aren't even thinking about that.
Like, what were you thinking when you were in your early 20s? Like,
when I was in my early 20s, I was thinking if I can get to $10,000 a month passive cash flow, I'm going to retire and go to Costa Rica or Hawaii. That was my goal.
Okay.
And I drove my entire 20s.
And what is it now?
We're way past that.
Okay.
Way past that. But now I have a bigger goal. There's bigger goals. So like the goals change as you go along, but it's still the same goal. I still want to live in Hawaii. That's about 5 years from now.
Okay.
It might be 10 years from now, but like we keep moving it. But like, it's just more, I just want to do more and achieve more.
Why?
Now, because instead of just my family, just like, well, let's just my wife and I, now we have our son. So that's different. But now I'm thinking even bigger. I want to take care of my whole family. So now it's not just about me anymore. Now it's about taking care of the whole family. So like I still want to retire in Hawaii and walk barefoot and eat fruit off the trees. That's kind of my hippie, dream.
Okay.
But now I also want to make enough money to take care of all my family.
But let's say you do that. Like, do you stop working? Do you believe in that?
I don't think so. I'm realizing now as I age, I don't think I'm ever going to stop working, but I can pull it back a bit. And like what I'm into now is still crushing and doing a lot, but I don't do a lot. I have more team members doing all the stuff. So like, for example, in my business, all I do is shoot videos. That's all I do. I have a list of employees that do everything else, manage the flips, buy all the materials, all the social media editing, the private lending, like all the stuff we do. I don't do none of it. All I do is shoot videos. So like what I'm about now is growing the business, but I do less. I hire more. So I'm still going to grow the business, keep growing, but I think I'll still keep pulling myself back.
And how long have you been shooting real estate investing videos?
Since 2012.
2012,
Yeah.
right? So at that time, I don't think videos were the main source of business for realtors. It was hoardings and it was,
Exactly.
So why did you choose YouTube? It worked out now, it worked out a lot. But what was that in 2012 that you realized that this is how I'm going to drive my business?
Yeah. So I was 22 years old when I became a realtor. I had no money. I was already broke. So like, how could I, when I joined the real estate office, obviously they're like, you got to do bus ads and benches and flyers. That's what all the other realtors do, right? And I thought, well, I can't do that. I don't have any money for that. So I knew I had to do something different. And being a young millennial at that time, I saw social media coming up. And I thought like the only edge I'm going to have is to be on social media because it's free. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm just trading my time by shooting videos and educating, and let's just see who I can attract into my business. So I was just making videos to grow my real estate agent business, which it did really well. But what ended up happening is I got so many people in the funnel or just watching me and said, Matt, I don't want to only be your client. I just want to invest with you, man. Like I see what you're doing. Why don't I just partner with you rather than just being your like realtor client? I was like, oh, okay. So I did one or two of those, and then it's just more questions. More people kept asking. And I was like, this is crazy. I'm doing these videos strictly to grow my realtor business, but this is actually growing my investing business tenfold. So that's when I knew about like 2014, 2015. I was like, this is something crazy going on. So I just doubled down on being the real estate authority kind of thing for Kitchener-Waterloo to partner with me. And that's kind of when everything flipped for how I do social media.
And that's interesting. You talked about Kitchener-Waterloo and, through your videos, I know that you try to build a niche around knowing everything around Kitchener-Waterloo.
Yeah.
And that's where, the trust came. So how important is niche for anyone who is watching this?
It's literally the most important thing. That's all Gary Vee talks about. And I kind of had this understanding by accident in like 2014, 2015 of like, if you go niche, that's what people want, because people want to work with an authority. They want to work with someone they can trust. So rather than just being the guy who kind of does everything, if you do, let's just say you're a realtor in Toronto and you specialize in condos, let's just say, that would be a way smarter strategy than like the Toronto guy, period, who does everything.
Yeah.
It'd be smarter to just go niche, and then people would rather work with pros, right?
No, makes sense. In my mortgage business, I only do first time home buyers.
Yeah.
That's it. It doesn't matter where they are. As long as they are first-time home buyers, I can guide them.
Yeah.
Right. So
perfect.
And I think, that has changed my business over the last 2 years, like massively.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a power, and I follow Gary Vee as well. So, he has been a big influence. So I definitely agree with you. But I do feel that there is fear that stops people.
Yeah.
And it's fear of failure mostly, right? So, like, has there been an instance in your life where you failed or you have been continuously failing, and how important is failure? Or, is it a legit fear to have?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a legit fear to have a failure. People are obviously afraid to to fail and look stupid. That's probably the biggest reason. Not only to fail, but to look stupid to your friends and family. But I think what's even worse is the lack of success, or the fear of success. What if you actually do what you want? That's even more scary for some people. So which is really weird to think about.
What do you mean by fear of success? Like,
what if you do make it? What if you do
I
crush
make $1 million a month?
Yeah, sure.
Why would that be a fear?
People are terrified because, like, what are they going to do with that money? Like, if they can't even manage their finances now, how could they ever manage $1 million a month?
Oh, wow. Okay.
How are your friends and family going to look at you if you're now this rich person making all this money? That's scary for people. So the fear of actually succeeding, I think, is even greater than the fear of failure.
Oh, wow. I've never.
Because again, people are afraid of, or they hate rich people, right? So if you become one, all your friends are going to hate you, which is definitely going to happen, by the way. The more wealthy you get, your old friends are definitely going to treat you differently. It's just part of what's going to happen. So people are afraid of that.
And what do you do then? What if your family hates you?
That's a big question. Yeah. What if they do?
Yeah.
How can you handle that?
So let's talk about negativity, talking about family, right? So I think you got a lot of negative comments, on your YouTube.
Mhm.
So like how I really feel that we are the average of 5 people around us. So
Yeah.
if we are broke and we are around broke people, we'll stay broke.
Yeah.
And if we try to learn from, that's the reason why I booked a call with you, right? So,
Yeah.
and the reason was that I just wanted to surround myself with and learn from, people who know more than me. And I just wanted to change my company. And, but family is family, right? So what
Yeah.
do you do, like when you have negatives in the family?
Yeah.
Like, have you gone through that in your
I haven't
past?
gone through that. I have a very supportive family.
Like friends, let's talk
Yeah,
about friends.
friends is the more so one they're gonna leave you.
Hmm.
It's not like they're just gonna say like, well, you changed, I'm gonna leave you. Like they might say that, but most likely they're just gonna pull themselves back, and you'll
Hmm.
just see them less and less. They won't want to hang out with you as much. And to be honest, you won't want to hang out with them either,
Hmm.
which is something I've kind of found over the time. Like all the acquaintances I've had specifically, like obviously your core friends you kind of grew up with, they're probably always gonna be your friends because you just have a great bond. But like it's the acquaintances, all the people that you used to know. If you want to talk about money or elevating or growing your life, and these people just want to talk about football and getting drunk on Friday, like they're not gonna want to hang out with you, and you won't want to hang out with them. It's not that good friendship anymore. So that's something you're gonna have to.
But are you sad about that? Like, does it hurt
At
you?
first, I kind of was, but now it's just like, well, no, like I just want, like you said, I want to hang out around more people that are crushing it, that are, we're all thinking kind of the same. We all want to push each other. Like, why would I want to hang out and just talk about football or something like that, right? Like, it's just for me. Like when I go out and meet with friends, I just want to talk about how to work out more, how to get a better body, how to make more money, how to be a better dad. I want to talk about that stuff, man. I don't want to talk about like Wayne Gretzky or like whatever. Like I don't want to talk about that. It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
To me. So like that's just how I'm changing, and I think I've seen that progression a lot in a lot of people as well.
And I I always thought that, I used to save pennies on the dollar,
Yeah.
because that's the mindset that you have,
Yep.
especially if you come from a, lower middle class
sure.
family. So, and now I've realized that time is probably the most important asset. And, I would rather pay someone to do something
Yes.
that I'm not good at. So
Yeah.
like, I know that you have that realization very early. So how did that realization come into play? Like, was it by accident, or was it something that you just overcame your fear of hiring someone and
Yeah.
it's okay if it doesn't work out? So
Yeah.
how did you overcome that?
Yeah, it was a very painful way to get there. So I didn't hire anybody actually for the longest time. It was only about I'd say about 4 years ago when I started hiring people finally after all this time.
Okay.
And I had a life coach at the time that was telling me like, he was coaching me more so on my life and finding balance rather than just like a business coach, because I feel I had the business side kind of rolling. I wanted a life coach to kind of help me out there. And he was saying like, your life is crazy. It's chaotic. You're stressed out all the time. You're working like all the time. Like you need to hire someone. And I knew that logically as a business person, like, yeah, I probably should, but I just never did because I was too frugal and too cheap. So I was like, and I had the fear of like, well, I'll just do it better than them. Obviously, right? Because like it's my business, I care more. Like, why would I hire someone? They're just gonna do it wrong. I'll just do it anyway, right? So I had that for a long time, and finally I was like, you know what, I have to, because the business was growing, and I was spending too much time at Home Depot picking up materials and like doing that low level stuff. So my first hire was a project manager for all of our flips going on, and that totally changed my life, literally. Because the second I hired her, I gained 30 hours of my week back immediately. So I could spend more time now shooting videos and growing the business rather than just going to Home Depot all the time and fighting with contractors. So I hired her, and I just got addicted to like saving all this time, and the business actually grew. And what I also found out is that I thought I was good at everything. I'm the best at everything. Why would I hire someone? She's actually a way better project manager than I could ever be. So that's when I realized after hiring her like 4 months, I was like, dude, she's way better than I am. Like this is amazing.
Yeah.
So then my next hire was a social media manager. That was my second hire. Same thing. So I saved so much time because now I just shoot the videos and I just upload it to the drive, and then they edit it and do all the stuff. So I saved so much time.
So you were editing videos as well?
I was doing everything, man.
Wow.
Shooting, editing, showing properties to clients, going to Home Depot, meeting contractors. It was insane. So when they started doing all the video editing, I was like, oh my God, I saved another 10 hours a week. And they're better than I am at it. So it just kept like,
and the business is growing.
business is growing.
That's magic,
So I
right?
hired other people. I was like, this is amazing. I just got addicted to how the business can grow faster. And funny enough, a lot of these people are way better at their roles than I am. So I was too busy just trying to do everything, right? And they're just focused.
Like, do you regret, and like, like last 4 years have been all hustle for us, and I do regret not taking care of my health.
Yes.
Right. So now I have a personal trainer and I do that. Right. Like, do you think that all this hustle, all this, running after a purpose, getting a better life, being financially freedom, what sacrifices,
Yeah.
have you made in the last, so many years
Yeah.
before now that you are, living on your own
Yeah.
terms?
The biggest sacrifice I can say is probably mental health for me has been the biggest thing. It's just like overstressed, over anxiety. I think I'm a pretty high anxiety person to begin with, let alone running like $1 million business. It's just like, it's a lot. So like, that's my biggest downfall is like, I'm trying to like zen out, just, get more balance that way. So, yeah, like that's kind of what I've noticed for me is I just need to like relax more, believe in what I'm doing, just like let it be. And just have more like mental health.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else like, I do feel that sometimes, my parents are here, so
Yeah.
I can't spend time
Gotcha.
enough with them. So is that something also that you struggled with? Because I know
Yeah.
a lot of people who are probably not as young, they are in their
Yes.
40s and they're trying to build,
Yeah.
a life, and they know where they are going. But there is a lot of things that they also need to balance.
Yes, it's harder for sure.
Yeah. So how do you balance that then?
Yeah, so I'm trying to balance it now by like saying hiring more people and stuff now. So I'm lucky in a sense that I did start early. So I kind of realistically I kind of threw away my 20s, to be honest. Like I just worked so much my 20s.
But do you regret that?
I don't regret it.
Why?
Because I think that's the best time in life to do that is then, before you have kids, before you kind of settle down. No one really knows you yet. Like you might as well just go all in, grow your business, build the foundation of your skill set. And then when you're 27, 28, 30 years old, now you're set. You're a pro at what you're doing. Now you can start, growing your business, hiring people out and stuff like that. When it matters more, like you're saying, now you have a family. Your parents are getting older, so you got to spend more time with them at this point. So, I think that's the best way to do it. Obviously, if you're starting your journey in your late 30s, 40s, it's obviously going to be a lot harder. So you probably have kids, right? All that kind of stuff. So that's just a real thing that's going to happen. And at the end of the day, you do have to sacrifice. There will be sacrifice for sure. There's no way you can't become financially independent by accident or by working 4 hours a day. We can't
unless you win the lottery.
Yeah, we can't do the whole Tim Ferriss 4 hours a day at the beginning. That's later. And that's what like the book and all these kind of things don't talk about. That comes later. But at the beginning, you have to sacrifice something. Your health is going to take a hit for sure. It's just going to have to. Time is going to take a hit. You're going to be away from your family, your wife, your husband. That's just the reality. And that's the thing people don't want to do. They don't want to do that.
Do you believe in luck? Like, do people get lucky?
For sure. Definitely.
Like how? Like in your life, like what was that point where you actually thought that, wow, that was lucky?
It could be right place, right time, being the right person. It could be, I don't really know if I believe in, there's got to be some luck for sure. But I think it's more so, like I really believe in like manifesting, right? So if more so the frequency that you're on. So if you're open and looking for opportunities and you're optimistic, I think you'll get lucky, but it's just you being open and seeing the opportunity and being ready for it. Whereas someone who's pessimistic all the time looks at the world in a very negative way, and they'll never think that they can invest in real estate. They'll never think they can start an Amazon FBA business because it'll never work. Whereas if someone who's more optimistic and, focusing on getting what they want, they'll get lucky, but it's actually them just being open to receiving that opportunity. So I think it's more so that rather than just being lucky. But there's got to be some general luck in life too, that right place, right time, you bump into the person at the right time, like whatever, right? That all that does happen. But it's more so, are you ready for it?
And what role does education play? You share a lot of information. Why do you share so much? Like, it's not just about business, right? You're financially independent now. So it's not so much about money now. So why do you share so much?
I share so much because I just like to teach people. I like to, I don't know, I just feel this pull to just teach people. I've always been like a teacher all the time. I just feel like since, as far as I can remember, I just love to like teach people things. And if I can combine that with real estate, it's just like the perfect match for me. But I also like to be like an influencer or just an authority in real estate because it really helps help people, which is great. But to be honest, it grows my business very well too. Like that's a fact. It's just a reality. So the more I can help people, the more I can grow my influence, the more it benefits me, the more it benefits the people on the other side of the screen. So it's a win-win transaction. So the only way I can achieve my goals and buy the amount of properties that I want to buy, eventually in a couple of years, I want to start a fund to buy real estate in the States. So the only way I can do these things is if people know me. So I have to keep going.
No, makes sense. You said one thing that is very fascinating in one of your videos, that if you're not rich, you're selfish.
Yeah.
Just try and explain, what that means.
So a lot of people think rich people are the selfish ones. they're greedy. They must be scamming somebody. They must be screwing someone. The reality is, and that might happen. Obviously, it does happen for sure in some instances, but not as much as people think it does. That's for sure. Like the best people I know in my life are rich people. The nicest people, the people who give the most, they're all rich people. The people that I know in my life who are pessimistic and are always in a bad mood, they're broke people. So I like to hang out with rich people more.
So
for that.
Why do you think it's selfish not to be rich?
But selfish not to be rich is that you're only thinking about yourself. So people say, well, I don't want to be rich. I don't want to be this. I don't want to start a company and be greedy. I just want to take care of myself and my household. That's selfish because you're only thinking about yourself. What about people around you? What about your extended family? What if you had the skill and the capability to be someone and help them and provide some money to them or start a charity or help your church, whatever? That takes money. So if you're only thinking about you, that's selfish. Being broke is selfish because you're only thinking about you.
Plus, I think if you take care of yourself and family, then you can give a lot more.
Exactly.
Once your house is settled.
Exactly.
Right? So how has money and being financially independent, has changed your life today? Like in the sense that, how is it different today? And if you had not done what you have done in the last 7 years, what do you think it would have been? Like, what has changed?
I think just like the feeling of peace in terms of finances. That was something I didn't have growing up, and a lot of people don't have, is they're always fearful of paying rent or paying the mortgage. I don't have that. I have other things I got to deal with being a business owner, right? Other problems. But that financial one is just like insane. It must have affected me a lot when I was a child. Like I know it did, but I think it really did. Just growing up in a home like that and see my parents always fighting and struggling for money, stuff like that. It's terrible. So I just never wanted that. So thankfully I don't have that fear, right? And like the leading cause of divorce, for example, is money problems. So like this is a really big thing in our society. So I just didn't want that. And that's how my life changed. I'm able to do things that I want, like travel to Florida for the winter. We own a home in Florida for the winter. I can do that. I can raise my son in that environment to never see winter, which is great. So like we can just do things like that. I can travel the world whenever I want, where I want. Freedom. I've always believed in freedom, even before I knew this whole like freedom thing. Well, 9 years old, 8 years old, I just knew I wanted to just do what I want when I want to do. Right. So that's the biggest thing that being wealthy provides you, is just freedom to move, do what you want. So like that's very important for me.
But what if someone is born into that privilege of having that freedom?
Yes.
Let's say your son, right?
Yeah.
So he's born into privilege, right? Like his dad is rich, right?
Yeah.
So like how do you, because I really feel and sometimes wonder that, it's pain that makes you successful.
It's
so
true.
That's the reason why so many successful people, millionaires, billionaires, are self-made. Right? Because they were not born into money. They had seen the other side.
Exactly.
And, they just had that drive in them, like you were talking about. So let's say like your son is now, let's say 10 years old. Like, what do you tell him?
Yeah, man, he'll be working on the construction sites on a couple of jobs. That's for sure. It's definitely something I want to make him do for sure. To see what a hard day of work is like, to see what dad did, what his dad did, and what his grandpa did, building houses. It's a nice job. It's a good living, but it's terrible. So he's going to see that for sure. I'm going to show him that. And it's like not helping your kids too much. They're like you said, there has to be some pain, some resistance. So, you can provide a nice life for your child, but don't give them everything. Don't pay for everything. Once they're 18 or whatever, they're kind of on their own in the sense, like if they want to go to college, you're paying for that. I'm not paying for that. So like there will be things like that in his life where, you're going to have to do what you want to do. I'll be here to help you, but I'm not going to financially help you with everything because I don't want you to be like a soft little rich kid, right? I do want you to see what pain is like and how hard it is to make $1. And he'll be taught how easy it is to make $1 the way we do it. So he's going to see. I'm going to try and make him see, like, this is a real problem. It's true. Like when you raising child in a richer setting, this is a problem we're going to have is, how to humble him for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's good.
I'll be learning as I go. I don't have the answers.
I know. But you are at least in a position of thinking about these things, right? So I'm sure, you are thinking about these things. So that's why I asked this question. You were a carpenter, right? So that was trading time for dollars.
Yeah.
And there are people who work really hard, like really hard, right? So I don't think I work half that hard.
Yeah.
So what is it that they need to change about themselves and still work hard, but be able to earn more, like because you have so much time. So what is it that as a carpenter you thought that, you know what, this is trading time? Like, people don't even know that they're trading time for
Yep,
dollars,
it's
right?
true.
So like, what's your thinking around,
Yeah.
uh,
I kind of knew always, even when I was a carpenter, that I was just using this as a stepping stone to become an investor, which is less time trading. So I always had that goal and direction at least. But I think if you don't have that, you have to understand how money works, how the world works.
how does
So,
it work? Like,
so excuse me.
yeah.
So making deals or providing value to people is really how the world works, rather than just going in, trading your time, swinging a hammer, because everybody can do that. So you
Mm,
have to kind of make scarcity in yourself where you're valued, you're needed in a company or in a service or product you're providing.
mm,
You need to be needed rather than just average.
And how do you do that? Like,
You
how
need
do
to
you?
you need to have a good skill set and be really, really good at something.
Mm,
So whatever it is that you find you're good at naturally, that's probably what you should dive into, whether it's photography, being a realtor, being a mortgage broker, being a lawyer, a dentist, whatever. Whatever you're doing, you should be the best at it.
mm,
And your life will definitely change.
because more people will trust you.
More people will trust you and they will need you, which is really important. So that's the thing with employees.
Mm,
And you see a lot of employee mentality of like, well, the boss needs me. He should pay me more. Without me, he's nothing, which
mm,
may be true on a low logical level. But the reality is you're replaceable like this.
mm,
So you need to become less irreplaceable or
mm.
become irreplaceable. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, makes
So
sense.
you need to be needed rather
Mm,
than just anybody can do your job. Anybody can sweep this floor. Anybody can paint a wall. Literally,
mm,
almost anybody
mm,
who can work an 8-hour day standing up can paint a
mm,
wall.
mm. And
So,
what's the maximum that you've seen, anyone make in an hour? Just to, like, that blew your mind.
oof, I don't even know. It would be like probably the easiest and fastest way I've seen is probably like selling programs or courses online. That's probably
Mm,
the easiest thing where you can make like a lot of money um, very quickly
mm,
with
mm.
very little work.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
and that's very passive. You still need to make videos. You still need
Yeah,
to do the, like,
for
update the
sure.
courses. But that's a really good way.
Yeah.
And why do you think people don't take that step? They know that courses work. They know
Yeah.
that they have to sell something which is high ticket. That's why you got into real estate. I got into mortgages, right?
Yeah.
So why do you think people don't do that?
Because of all the work it takes to get up to that point. So, like, you can make a lot of money and easily at a certain point of selling courses, buying a couple of properties, doing flips, right? You can make a lot of money doing a flip
Mm,
on a property very quickly, but it's all the work before that point of specializing, knowing how to get a good deal, knowing how to make this deal work, knowing how to renovate it,
mm,
what paint colors are popular right now, what's the flooring that it needs to be. These are all things that people don't think about. And once they start doing it, they quickly realize, oh my God, this is a lot of work. I'm not doing it anymore. And they just bow out.
mm,
But you were kind of so close to figuring it out. And
mm,
once you put in all that initial work, then the business gets easy. Then life gets easy. But
mm,
nobody wants to do that initial work. People are just lazy. That's what it is. They're
mm.
just too comfortable. We're just too comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that you are very vocal on social media. You don't care, a lot
Yeah.
of people what they're thinking. I know that you don't like the, way the government also, looks at things
Yeah.
and, does things. Like, what gives you that confidence?
I kind of always had that confidence to just speak my mind, and I'm not out to like offend anybody on purpose.
Yeah.
But like I'll just say what I'm thinking. But it's easier now because I'm financially independent. That I
Mm,
don't need a job. I don't need the system. I could retire 5 times over tomorrow if I wanted to, and go live in Hawaii in the jungle and just do nothing if
mm,
I really had to or wanted to.
mm,
So I don't feel the need to be canceled. Like I don't fear being canceled. And number one, the way we are in the business, I'm uncancelable because
mm.
we're just doing what we're doing. We're independent. We're self-employed. I don't have this fear, so I can really speak my mind. And I think a lot of people will really appreciate that because most people can't speak their mind
Yeah.
because their employer is watching over the shoulder, or a past tweet could get you fired or whatever.
Yeah.
So being financially independent, we don't have to worry about that.
Or a client leaves you because you said
Sure.
something, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense. And like, there's a need to be, like, I see a lot of people, even business owners, mortgage agents, realtors, they have like this urge to please other people
Yes.
always, right?
Yes.
Like, have you ever
sales,
had,
yeah.
like sales is,
For
like
sure.
I need to please someone.
Yeah.
Instead of, giving value or
Yeah.
like I say a no to a lot of people, when people come to me and they're making $50,000,
Yeah.
I tell them that go make more money, right?
Yeah.
And, don't buy a house right now.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you'll get nothing, or
For
you'll
sure.
be paying 80% of your salary into your mortgage.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense. And some people just take offense.
Yep.
And some people would just come back and say, oh, now I'm making $120,000. Now tell me, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
like, it's just, so like, why is there a need to please, or did you have that as well when you were a realtor, let's say when you started?
I don't think so. I think that comes from a need to fit in. It's just like a tribal, prehistoric thing in our brain. We need to fit in and be accepted by the tribe. I think that's where that really comes from. But especially in a sales position, like you're saying, with the realtor mortgage broker, especially because that industry is just, it's a service industry, so it's all about pleasing. But what I find interesting is the more vocal I am about how I'm really thinking about government or the business or what's going on in real estate, the more honest I am on social media, the more business I get, the more trust I get. Because people want to follow people or work with people who they can believe in, who they can believe what they're saying to be true. Rather, because like we can all sense somebody who's just lying and just pretending and being the nice guy and pleasing. Like we don't like that. We don't like to be sold to. We'd rather work with someone who's authentic and being themselves.
Because honestly, real estate can be sold by anyone.
For sure.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
Mortgages anyone can do.
Yeah.
But it's the trust that you build at a different level, which is not real estate,
Yeah.
is what matters. That's where, when I say no, that person may not buy from me, but they will tell 4 other people because, Navjot was the only person who said no to me.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. It's
Yes,
just that
exactly.
he was the only person who said that, right? So I think it's not about mortgages anymore. It's not about real estate anymore.
Yeah.
Then. So this I call the last 4 questions that I asked. It's a rapid 4. The first one is, what's the advice that you would give to anyone who's starting a business right now?
And if we're starting a business, find something that you're naturally good at and just dive in and specialize. I've been saying this since 2012 to be a specialist. I truly believe it. It's changed my life. Like I was saying before, people want to work with someone who knows what they're talking about. We're getting really smart with seeing the fakers in society. We're very savvy now of who's trying to sell us something, even if we're not really subconsciously, or even if it's subconscious, we know someone's trying to sell us something and be sneaky. We're just very trained that way now with social media and just the way the world is now. So I think being an expert and being specialized is really the key.
The second one is, if you have to be successful, what's that one sacrifice that you feel people should be okay to make?
Working harder than you ever thought possible, and even more. That's what it's going to take. So people aren't willing to do that, and that's going to mean less time with your family, less time with your buddies. That's for sure. You're going to have to sacrifice a lot. It's just part of the game. There's a lot of tools out there and technology and YouTube to kind of help shorten the gap, thankfully. But there's going to be years, at least a couple years, of just total. You're in the basement. No one's going to see you, basically. Or else you'll be average.
Yeah. And what's wrong in average?
Nothing's wrong with average, as long as you're okay with average. But for the people like us, I think that's not good enough. There's a 2 or 3% of the population where the average is not going to cut it.
No, that's true. And that goes back to purpose in life.
Exactly.
And, and why. And, I always feel that I'm not going to remember my next life, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to remember what I did in this life.
Yeah.
And I just have one life, right? So if I don't.
Yeah, might as well go for it.
Do you believe in, I know we are digressing, but do you believe in regret? Like,
in what?
I do regret.
Yeah, for sure. Well, there's some things you can regret for sure that if you do, but not really. I like to just keep moving forward. So I can learn from my mistakes, but I don't really dwell on them or like regret them. I just keep moving forward.
Yeah. But there's future regret, right? So if you don't do this and...
That's the worst regret is future, exactly. Not getting your potential, not living where you want to live, not achieving the stuff that you could have or thought you could have. That's way worse than I tried, I failed. Oh, well, I'd rather have that than I never did anything at all.
That makes sense. So, Matt, if you were made the president of the world, for one day, what would you do? Like, what's that one rule that you'll create that everyone has to do?
First thing I'd probably do is completely overhaul the school system and just make it more individualized and more happy, less, graded, less these hoops you have to jump through that everybody has to jump through and conform to. Just more of like an entrepreneur type school, free flow. Yeah.
That's good. So Matt, last question. If you were to take out anyone, that's one wish that you had, you were to take out anyone on a lunch or a dinner, it could be dead or alive, anyone at all. Who would that person be?
Man, honestly, maybe Gandhi.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why? Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. Why?
I'm just very I just need more Zen in my life. I just really believe in that mentality. Like Taoism, just being natural, like that's really what I'm into, and just that's what I've always been into. But I really want to expand that more in my life, and just
Why are you into, like Zen? Like, why is that important?
I just really believe in like nature. Like that's where like I'm not really a religious person, but I would say I'm very like spiritual in the sense that I really believe in the laws of nature. So I love being outside, like barefoot, the sun, eating fruit. Like that's what I'm all about, and just hearing the way he would think about life would be very interesting, I think, rather than just like so business, which I am, but I think a large part of me as well is just like being laying in the grass.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Matt. I'm sure that a lot of people learned a lot of things. And if there's one person who listens to this and, their life changes, I think it's a win.
For sure.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Perfect. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah.